It's time now to review headlines on today's newspapers. And doing the honors today is Steve Ayorinde, filling in for the ombudsman of This Day and Arise Media Group, Kayode Komolafe.
Thank you.
Take over.
Yes,
take over. Take charge.
All right.
Dr. Abati will say that.
Absolutely. And we go first with This Day on Sunday. The lead story here says politicians with billions in cash move against Naira Redesign. And the rider mobilized National Assembly to pass resolution as several lawmakers may have stockpiled cash for elections and are angry. I think this is an important story as the lead, from this day, because this is at the heart of what we are talking about. And it's coming barely 24 hours after the president spoke in London. He spoke in London, where he doesn't have a home, but that's where he spoke from.
Yes, Steve,
not a single home, Steve. We have to say that we have to reiterate that's not a home.
He says he doesn't have a home. He said that to the king,
yes,
who was interested in, why are you always hanging around here? Do you have a house here? He says, no, I don't have a house here.
And the point is that his house, the only house he owns is the one he had, or two, is the one he had before he
came into
power.
power.
He was quite humble to say that as well.
He likes hanging around in London, but that's fine, So the president spoke from there and was unequivocal in saying that the Naira redesign will proceed as planned.
Yeah.
And according to the CBN Act, 3 months is more than sufficient for that thing to be effected. And for me, I actually agree. President and with the CBN. So if we have people who have stockpiled cash against the law of the land, and they are now trying to go through the back door to go to the National Assembly to say, pass a law to say that this is not enough, then they will have to have the president to contend with. It's not just about Emefiele. This is about contending with the president. And that this is a president who has done it before in 1984 when he redesigned the Naira, and he went ahead with it. I'm sure that nobody will be able to, change the president's mind on this. We're in November.
Yeah.
The new notes will not come until December, until the middle of December, and then the old notes will still be in place till the end of January. What are they afraid for?
That should be enough time.
If not for the elections.
Yes, it is the election.
People who have stockpiled, cash, and the president is saying two things clearly. We won't allow those who have stockpiled money to purchase the election, and we won't allow those with thugs, to take over the reins of that. And I think that except you are an enemy of democracy, you are an enemy of the new Nigeria that most of us seek, most Nigerians seek, come February, March, you will have a problem with those who are saying that the law should not, proceed. It's a different thing altogether if you now say, oh, what will happen to FX, blah, blah. But we can see even the effect of FX now. That, it was artificial that it went to 800, 900. Now we are back to almost 500 or something.
Yeah.
So the president should stand his ground and the CBN should not back down.
Absolutely, 100% support. But I mean, you've seen those videos, Steve, and you've seen them. The ones with the rotten Naira.
Oh, yes.
Those videos is appalling.
I mean, it's just pure greed. Pure greed,
Appalling. Because
I don't suppose that those who stockpile such cash do not have money in the bank. It's not like you go to where do they keep them?
Almost like a warehouse.
And then you say, I'm going to need 100,000 tomorrow.
Clearly.
Absolutely, that's not acceptable. All right, on top of the lead story, the headline there says we'll provide safe, secure environment for 2023 elections. Irabo vows to ward off arsonists. INEC beefs up security around its facilities. IG to summon all political parties over violence. Abby, you remember what we discussed yesterday. This is coming, on the heels of what Mungono, the chief security, advisor, said, about the fact that they are aware that some politicians are trying to perpetrate violence. So this coming from the Chief of Defense Staff, General Loki Rabo, is good. That's, the military, the authorities are aware and they are ready, to stop anything untoward that might happen. On top of the masthead, 2023, we will do better. Tinubu begs Nigerians not to give up on politicians. That's on page 5 of today's story. We won't know whether this is an admission of tacit failure, tacit admission of failure, you know, as far as his party is concerned, or he's just basically saying that, yes, we have not delivered in the manner that we promised, but they don't give up yet on us. I think it will now be left for Nigerians to decide whether they are to trust, you know, candidate A or B or C, you know, or D. That will be left to Nigerians. But here clearly, Asiwaju is pleading with people to say that we can do better. Give us another chance. And on the window, newly rehabilitated National Theatre to host creative and tourism events, says CBN, a facility to create world-class creative sector, boost economy, says Emefiele. I think this. I do too, actually. I think this is about the event of the federal government that will start, I think, tomorrow or Tuesday. The Nigeria is hosting the United Nations World Tourism Organizations. You know, I think that will be the first time. The only time before now that Nigeria hosted something on tour, it was the African Ministers of Tourism, and that happened in Lagos during the immediate past administration of Lagos State. You know, when all the tourism ministers in Lagos came, it was a hotel that was used at that point and the government house, but then that you're having the entire on tour machinery coming to Nigeria. CBN, which spearheaded, and I think with the Bankers Committee, we spearheaded the renovation of the National Theatre.
And that's a very laudable effort on the part of the CBN and the Bankers Committee as well, because this has been in the works for quite a bit, isn't it?
It has been. And I think what this says is that, you know, the first phase of the National Theatre that is ready is what they will use, which is essentially the existing structure that has been renovated. You know, part of what they are planning is something akin to what you have in Sun City in South Africa. You know, studios, hotels, malls, etc. All those ones coming later. But this will be an opportunity for those who doubted, you know, the CBN and the Bankers Committee to see whether, I mean, have they taken over our cultural patrimony, for example. So we will see how good, you know, their promises will be if National Theatre is still National Theatre, and then if, you know, Emefiele can be believed as far as the National Theatre is concerned. So people will look forward to it.
Yeah. I mean, I think, Abby, you have this day style, even talking on culture.
Yes, this day style, we have British-Nigerian artist Yinka Shonibare.
Can we pull this day style
Yes,
off,
please. This is somebody that whose works I deeply admire. Yes. So I'm not speaking from a biased point, but of course, without a shadow of doubt, highly talented, very famous for contemporary work around cultural identity, influences, and of course for the kinds of works that from sculpture to paintings to various expressions of art. And it's a good thing to see his work being celebrated.
Absolutely.
And of course, a lot of people don't know that, from a much younger age, he suffered some sort of paralysis.
It's physically challenged.
And it's just so much more respect for the work that he does with that in mind. Yes.
It's very refreshing to see that.
It's an OBE and a CBE, by the way.
I mean, this is off of the Art X exhibition. He was included as one of the people showing his collection there. I missed Art X. I don't know if you had the opportunity.
I missed it too.
Yinka Shonibare was there just before COVID in 2019 too. So I'm glad that he returned this year to
it's so lovely to see these great icons being celebrated. And I think that, talking about the National Theatre and all of that, I think the idea of, reviving our culture and, exposing our art to the world is so important. Recently, Arise News collaborated with, the Korean industry to try to have, more engagement with their culture there. And I thought that was such a significant move. Yes,
fantastic.
Korea. Yes, it was absolutely fantastic. Well, we'll see more on that, I guess.
Do you have time to quickly look at the Guardian?
Why not? Let's do the Guardian. The lead story there, flooding. 25 million Nigerians risk severe hunger in 2023. Let's see who said that. Flooded plantain plantation, that's the cover picture there with Sadia Umar Farouk, Minister for Disaster management who's actually come under fire because of her comments, or the comments she made regarding Bayelsa State and Jigawa being the most affected by the flooding. I guess it will be an interesting read there to see what's going on. And then I guess another story there, G5 governors stand for peace, unity, progress in Nigeria.
Can we do the nation very quickly, where we have the lead story, Naira sustains rally as dollar rush subsides. And the writers here, put things in context. Analysts predict 10 billion Naira loss for forex speculators, and how false flag spooked BDCs to dump dollars. I think we will see all the shenanigans around, what's making the dollar, to rise and fall.
If you had to purchase last week, it was painful.
Well, I mean, those who needed to, wouldn't have any choice.
Absolutely. I was one of those people. It was
You
quite
had to?
painful. Yeah, I had to. Yeah.
Right.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Do you have another paper to look at?
Can we do the punch? I think we have, we have the punch there.
Yeah, I'll give that to Abby.
Yeah. Okay, Abby, yes.
Yeah, okay, so I think we have a few minutes to go.
Yeah.
And jumping right at us, we have ICPC freezes 1,233 bank accounts. Ex-governor may lose 29 duplexes. Yari forfeits $669,248 million, 24 million Naira. Okay, so a lot's going on here on the Sunday Punch, but I think, Steve, do you want to take a quick stab at this one?
Well, I mean, it's good that we are hearing from ICPC, again, they tend to operate somehow under the shadows of the EFCC.
Yeah.
Then if you actually drill down, you see that ICPC gets a lot done, in terms of its mandate to go after those who perpetrate, fraudulent acts. So freezing more than 1,200 bank accounts, including that of an ex-governor who the story says might lose up to 29 houses, says a lot.
Yeah.
But then we'll need to know if prosecution, will follow, or whether there will be plea bargaining and stuff. Of course, that will also raise the issue.
Point, yeah.
It will also raise the issue of if you are plea bargaining, it presupposes that there's a guilt somewhere.
Yeah.
And that in political seasons, when there are forfeitures and plea bargains,
and what have you,
it's not likely that you can say that you are unblemished.
Well done, Steve.
All right.